I suggest that we get this thing started. So let me give you each a minute to give a short introduction about who you are, what you do. So I have a specific slide that I'm going to jump to so that we have something to look at while we speak. So I think we should start with the order that we see in this slide. So Yanis, the floor is all yours.
Yes, thank you, Kristaps. Hello, everyone. It's my absolute pleasure to be here tonight and talk to you about very important topics in the BI domain. Myself, I'm CEO and co-founder of Zoom Charts, been in BI and data analytics for more than 20 years. So I have some things to tell you that I hope you will find interesting and insightful. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Yanis. Federico?
Oh, hi, Federico Pastor. I'm a Power BI trainer and creative report developer. I run a free challenge in LinkedIn, and I also a member of the Microsoft Power BI core visual team with Miguel Myers.
All right. And Tony, what about yourself?
Yeah, hi. My name is Tony Hewlett. I'm a data modernization consultant for a consulting firm in North America and Canada, mostly processed around Power BI development for our clients. So I haven't been in the business as long as these other two, but I'm definitely being mentored by them and humbled to be here. So thank you for having me.
Thank you as well. So the main topic of today is mastering Power BI. So we're trying to look at some of the market demands and insights from your respective roles. And we'll have a couple of questions that we want to touch upon. Each one can give some responses to those questions, and then we'll also have some closing remarks and open discussion, final comment, and possibly some sharings and takeaways that we want to share with everyone that is in attendance. So let's start off with a question that is, do you have any trends that you're observing in the market? Is there any type of demand with regards to data reporting that you clearly see right now? So maybe Yanis, we could start off with this.
Thank you, Kristaps. Yeah. So from our experience, we see that as the world is moving on, we are seeing more and more BI and data tools around us, which doesn't surprise because of all the technology, and the businesses are willing to make even better decisions as they've done ever before. And when working with customers across the globe, we've noticed that in particular, companies have reached a stage where they're trying to push forward these tools that have been implemented on a global scale in these companies, because they have invested so much money in building all the data warehouses, data processing pipelines and funnels, and to finally get most return out of that, they're looking for new ways how to encourage the business users to actually use the tools. And this is, I think the biggest and most important thing, at least in the last 12 months or so, is this focus on how to actually get that done. And so that would be kind of the biggest takeaway currently, that companies are looking for new ways on how to stimulate adoption of data culture and how to make the tools easier and more user-friendly to achieve higher returns on this all BI investment stack.
Okay, so thank you, Yanis. Federico?
Yes, I agree with Yanis. We have seen a transition from the complex to the easy. And I think we can see that in reporting. My area is data visualization. All the fancy stuff we used to do 2 years ago have moved to I need to provide for the end user, not for me, not for my liking. It's what the end user like it and how I can make it simple and easy. And that is a big trend that's happening now. On the other side, we have identified, I think people start learning about how big Power BI the environment it is. It's not just Power BI desktop. It's not just data visualization. You have Power BI service. You have Microsoft Fabric, data engineering. So now people can appreciate the magnitude of the area in analysis that they can work on. It's not all about doing beautiful reports. It's about, well, I like cleaning data or preparing data. I'm going to get into data cleaning or data engineering, where I would like to administer of data governance, Power BI service. So that's something that we can see now is coming up in the trends and opening up for people's choice.
Okay, thank you, Federico. Tony.
Yeah, actually, you guys both made some excellent points, and I kind of had some of those on my list, so I'm just gonna like gloss over them. But I definitely think like in the consulting range, sometimes when we come in, they have like all these ideas and they're like, oh, we want all these things, we don't know, we know. And so one of the specifically like performance optimization and data integration and all these things are really important to them. I think one of the big things that we're seeing now is that mobile accessibility. And I think Power BI with the latest kind of updates, I mean, I say latest, it's not that new, but with the ability to kind of specify the mobile app, that has been huge and definitely an ask for some of our clients. One of the things I would say, though, that has been kind of instrumental and that we've seen a lot of is the template use and standardization. And it kind of is coupled with that governance. So not necessarily security and data governance, which is huge and important, and all companies need that, but more of that branding. And even within like your own corporation, that time to value is increased by having something like a template that you can use and then documenting that so that others can use it afterwards. I would say that's a big thing that we've been seeing too.
Okay, thank you. That's an excellent response, Tony. So does anyone have any sort of comments to add upon someone's story? So, or should we move on to the next question? Okay, seems like we move on to the next question. And before we do so, we just noticed that there is a chance to add a poll. So we created a quick poll to understand what the main audience is likely considered to be. So either a report creator, so more technical people, or the data consumer, so someone who is consuming the data on a day-to-day basis. So we have an open poll, so we would really appreciate if everyone left a response. So we understand that this is something that we can touch upon in more detail at a later stage. So moving on to question number 2. Give me a second. So multiple screens, single thing. So yes, Yanis, again, the question is first. So what are the most important obstacles that you've seen that company-wide driven culture implementation is facing today? So what would be the things that would be easier if these obstacles didn't exist?
Sure. So again, from our experience, and it's all built on our experience, so we see like I'd say like 3 main kind of areas that help that you can work with to help facilitate this data-driven culture adoption in your organization. And first one is, of course, the complexity. As mentioned already by the other speakers, one of the biggest problem was the reports and BI as of today is that people, quite a few people are afraid of it when they see it, when they open it up, and when they understand that they don't understand, or when they see that it takes too much time to learn, or if something doesn't work there, it kind of immediately creates this barrier. And people try not to use these things that they don't like to. And there's actually a very good reason. We've gone quite deep into how our bodies work to understand why we like and why we don't like certain things. And one of the biggest things is that when you need to learn new things, it's literally a painful process, because when you are learning new stuff, you're creating new connections in your brain, and all that process is literally painful. And therefore, quite a few people, and especially the older we get, we try to stick to things we know, to processes that we know how to work, and we try to avoid learning new things. And so this is something to keep in mind. And also, let's not forget that there's 1 billion plus Excel users out there, and this is a dominant way of thinking about data and analytics for most of them. So now that we are transitioning this into a kind of a new way of consumption and collaboration on data, we need to think how to do that in the easiest way, so that the users can go into this new domain in the most easiest way without additional learning, to get most out of it in the shortest possible time. So for the newer generation, maybe this is easier, but currently there's many people who are not like the new, let's say, been here around for some time, and so to accommodate them and ensure the smooth transition, that needs to be fluid. Okay. So this is kind of, I think, that the biggest point there. I'm happy to give floor to Tony.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, so this is like, pink card. So pink card will show up in the bottom right corner of the screen once someone is really talking. So let's just give the floor to someone else. Yanis, so main takeaway I understand is no pain, no gain, right? When it also comes down to the report creation process and understanding new things. So, right. So this is something that's, you need
it's kind of different. You want to avoid pain to get gain in this case. So it's a bit different.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
I do like that though, because we were talking about earlier how I couldn't learn a second language. So, and that's exactly what it was like. It was like this stop in my brain, and I'm like, it's too hard. I'm going to give up. So I agree with you, and I do feel that the Excel user is huge, and we still do see that, and that is probably the biggest pain point for adoption of Power BI is that they're happy with Excel and they don't want to pivot. Now, I think that as consultants or developers or whatever, don't try to think of it as eliminating Excel, because I feel like you're going to get resistance from that. It's more, let's see how we can use Power BI that in a way that Excel can't. And I think if you can find that and then educate your clients or users or whatever on that, you're going to win. You're going to find the wins and the gains that you're looking for. And a part of that, I believe, comes with the education in the service. I feel that that's another of those often overlooked, those like making your own personalized bookmarks, or, being able to collaborate in teams, or really show them that integration with other Microsoft kind of features, and also, how they can collaborate with team members. All of those pieces together, I think you're going to find that you don't necessarily need to eliminate Excel. I use Analyze in Excel a lot to get people on board. And then I'm like, okay, but now look at this as well. And the fact that they work so seamlessly together is, I think, fantastic. So anyways, that's my point.
Thank you so much, Tony. Federico, do you have something to add to this?
Yeah, sure. I think that I still use Excel. Every time I'm going to create in Power BI, I open Excel first. That's where I do my preliminary observation of the data. And if I need to do some changes, I prefer to do it there and then load it into Power BI. So Excel is not going to go anywhere. Actually, I will hate it to go. I really like it. But Power BI gives us a bit more of dynamism. Okay, we can do a lot more visualization-wise than Excel. But Yanis and Tony, they both mentioned about education, you as an analyst. And that is very important, because at the moment there are so much courses and webinars and YouTube channels that is easy for the new guys to get lost. So guys, I want you to slow down, okay? Look at where you are. How much do you know of anything? Okay? Find your niche. If you have been studying business administration, why do you want to go into human resources in Power BI? At least you like it, you can do, but pick up your niche. It's very important. Become an expert of what you do. A master of many tools is just a master. An expert is an expert. Okay? It will give you more chances. And pick the tools that you are going to use. You don't need to know Excel, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, QLIC, Python. Hey, Excel, SQL a little bit, Power BI that your expertise, you bring it up and you accommodate. Okay, all these tools for your use. End of the day, it's up to you. Okay, what you're gonna pick, but don't feel like you have to do all the tools or need to know all the tools, because that is what I did, and I lost half a year of progressing because I was doing too much.
I see that Michael has added a nice comment in the chat as well. So he's stating that using Excel is like 90% of where your data starts for most users. So I think we can all agree to that statement.
Yeah.
So thank you, Federico, so much for the insightful comments. So with this, let's move on to the next question, which is, so where do we all think that business intelligence and data analytics is heading, and what could we expect in the next few years? Anyone want to start? So,
Tony, go
yeah,
ahead.
okay.
Tony, go ahead, Tony.
You want me to start? Oh my goodness. Well, I honestly, I think it's a little bit of an unknown. And the reason I say that is because of, I'm going to say it, like AI, ChatGPT, and all that stuff. There's a lot, and Fabric, like there's a lot on the horizon that we don't know about. Like even I was just reading something the other day, it's like weekly updates right now coming out of Microsoft. It's so overwhelming. And so it's difficult to see where we're going to be at. I do feel like to Fed's comment on the last one is, not necessarily pick a lane, but just, yeah, figure out what you want to become an expert in and be okay with that, because there's so much knowledge coming at us. I'm not going to say that AI is going to take over our jobs or eliminate our jobs. That's not something that's going to happen. But how can we use that to augment our jobs is definitely, I think, where we're at already. Even within our own company, all of the developers have it open, either whether it's Copilot, whether it's ChatGPT. It's something that we are working with, and not being resistant to that, but being accepting of that is going to be huge. And I don't feel like it's going to eliminate it. I just think it's going to broaden our possibilities and horizons. So with that, I think when we look at the AI and trends and predictive analytics, and I feel like that is going to be really exciting. And then the amount of data that we're able to process is, again, just going to be exponential because of all of that compute. And so I think it's really exciting times, but no idea. But I'm happy to hear what you guys think. But right now, I'm just like in awe of everything that has been happening. So, yeah.
It has been a pretty significant change over the past few months when it comes to AI and ML. So this is also something that we're going to touch upon in the next question. So maybe let's leave the AI part of the equation for a little bit later in the discussion.
Sorry.
So let me. But I really appreciate, Tony. This, because it makes sense, right? Everyone is pretty scared about what's happening next. Am I going to lose my job? What's my role going to be like? So Federico, Yanis, so what do you think would be pretty much the next year or two when it comes to data analytics, business intelligence? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Federico, go.
Okay, and I think now companies is understanding how important data is for them. And still, we have plenty of technology, but the data is not good quality. I think companies are going to start looking after the data a bit more, so that can be properly analyzed at the moment. And I think Tony or anyone who has been on the job can tell you what a mess the data they retrieve it is, and how difficult sometimes it's to retrieve. And where is the data is one of the funny questions I make sometimes is, where is the data? And now I have a database here, I have another database, then we have some Excel file and other filing here. And I think companies in general are going to understand how important data is, how important it is to keep and maintain that data clean for the analyst to do their job. We are going to see more and more center of excellence in company group of people that will specialize, in data analysis and Power BI. And that will help massively the industry, and will help the newcomers that I defend. You need to give this guy a chance for them to develop. I think that is the way forward.
Okay, thank you, Federico. Yanis, anything to add upon Tony and Federico?
Yeah, certainly. So again, reminding the question, so where I do think this is heading and what to expect next. Actually, we're living in a very exciting times where technology is evolving very quickly, and because of that, it's the entire stack that we have around us that gets better every year, including hardware, software, but also a vast amount of data that is also increasing more and more. Plus, as already Tony mentioned, machine learning and AI is also being more widely adopted to get more value from this. But so where does this all leave us? Well, one thing for sure, there's going to be more data than ever. So there's going to be even more demands to create such reports that let us leverage that data that we have to make better data-driven decisions. And more importantly, we all live in a super competitive environment, and companies are looking for ways to differentiate and for ways to find and make better decisions. So there's going to be an ongoing kind of attempts to find better ways to work with the data, because those who will do that first will have the first mover advantage. And of course, companies having most return on this entire BI stack will be in a better position to conquer new markets, to make better decisions, produce new products, and overall provide a better experience for their employees. So I think now is a very interesting time to be a report creator, because you have this possibility to think outside the box in terms of not only how to deliver what is asked from you, but you can think out of the box and think how you could help the company to achieve more than you're asked from. And those who will make this extra mile and will make better deliverables than asked, I think you have a better chance in surviving the ML and AI kind of revolution that is already happening, because already today you can have like basic reports generated by machines. You don't need report creators for that, right? So, and this probably will go together with the next question in terms of how ML and AI will kind of shape the future. But just to summarize, creating better reports, doing more is the way for you to go forward and help your company grow in the future. And you should really focus on that.
Giannis, thank you so much for the answer. And I think, the story that we're telling really coincides with most of the audience today. So we have the results in, and 92% of the people that are here are actively generating some reports. So by looking at the statistics, so I think most of the people have a question. So what do we think will change with the advent of ML and AI? So how could the report developer role change in the near future? Since Giannis, you just finished it, had some statements for this, I'll give the floor to either Federico or Tony. So let's
I go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid at all of artificial intelligence at all. I think it's my Copilot. Microsoft put a really good name on that. Copilot. The Copilot, the one helping you to drive your car, to race faster, to do better. So that's the way I see artificial intelligence. I use it every day, but I don't use it to create calculation on measure that I do not understand. Don't do that. If you don't understand what the machine is doing for you, don't use it. You might be totally wrong, or the machine might be totally wrong. So before you decide to use artificial intelligence to create complex DAX measure, you need to understand how DAX, how Power BI, how filter and raw content work. For then you say, no, it's giving me a good calculation, or to have any other method to compare the data that is giving artificial intelligence and the data you want to obtain. I use it every day. I use it to reply to email, to write letters, to prepare content every single day. But I don't use it for measures. And when I use it, I sometimes more than no, I distrust what it's telling me because I don't understand it. So I'm not afraid. I think it's going to be a great help. And in my view, I want you to remember that we have been through 4 industrial revolutions, different ways, yes? We survived them. Okay, what we did, we get better, we specialize, okay, and we improve. The machines, whatever industrial revolution happened at the time, could not with us. Industrial revolution need us, and we are in control. Hey, now, what the heck? If you have a fantastic thing that can help you to do a lot of the work in less time. And remember, business needs to be competitive. If business is not competitive, they don't make money. So the technology has to be adapted, looked after, and implemented properly.
Okay, thank you so much, Federico. Tony?
Yeah, I get behind that 100% because what you're seeing a lot of is, I think early on, people are like, oh, we're getting rid of so many employees because of AI. And it's like, in reality, really? So, and I get sometimes, in some companies that might be the case, but in our job, you still need somebody like Federico said, like to drive either the conversations or the requirements gathering or, getting really into the heart of what you're looking for and what you want to analyze. That's not going to be replaced. And I agree. I love the Copilot. I love that it's going to help me. But like any friend that you call, you can say, maybe that's not the right answer, or, right? So have that kind of like, they might not know it all because it is still learning. And so with that learning becomes, that error in that, right? And we all know that it's not great at math, so which is also me. So I definitely don't use it for math, but I mean, what? But I agree. I feel like this is that era of use it, for ideas, right? I mean, we still, as report designers, developers, go out on Pinterest or Adobe or other report developers to get ideas from. And it's another kind of avenue or asset that we can use in our arsenal to help us build great reports for people and get ideas from. And I think that that's kind of one of the things that I have been using it for. I also use it secretly because I don't know Excel formulas. So I ask it what this Excel formula means. So, there's other reasons, ways to use it, but I feel like in Power BI, that has been, for me on the job, fantastic and beneficial for me. And it has helped me increase my kind of speed to get things out there because I've been able to kind of utilize that.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Giannis, do you have anything to add?
Well, certainly. So again, very great comments from Federico and Tony. So they covered most of it, but maybe from my angle, so how I see it is, I believe that ML and AI will certainly help us improve and streamline the report delivery process on one hand. Again, on multiple dimensions, it is already helpful today, but it will be even more helpful as we move forward. It will certainly help us with the data transformations, cleansing, and manipulation in a number of ways, but also for report builders, I think it will be a great help for building the M and DAX syntaxes, which maybe are not that straightforward. And but certainly there's just as far as it can go, at least right now. So it will be even more important for you to focus more on your end user, because you will be the medium between the vast amount of data vault and ML and AI capabilities and an actual business requirements for your business users. And the better translator you will become at this, the higher you will grow in your personal career. Because again, business people are not always that efficient with explaining what they need. So you really need to focus more on working with them closer and trying to understand not only what question they need to answer, but how they're going to use it, how frequently they're going to use it, where they're going to use it, and think about how you can save time for their productivity, because every second of their time that you save, that's going to have a super compounding return on the company as such. And becoming professional at using the tools at hand and better understanding your business people, this is where it's going. So and therefore from this technical role, you're gonna become more like a psychotherapist, where you're gonna need to talk to these businesses and help them achieve what they need to, because they're never gonna learn everything that you know, especially at the rate that the new technologies are coming into this game. So this is how I see it. It's not that you're going to be phased out, but you'll need to take a different angle, and probably you'll need to communicate more with an actual users and those who request reports from you.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, no one is really scared about actual job losses due to AI, but AI should be something that needs to be mastered by the general report creator in order to best utilize their report creation process. So it's like a nice virtual assistant that will help you along the way, right? Okay, so thank you everyone so much for your comments for this. So I've asked the chat to have some type of questions raised for our overall Q&A. But before we do so, I'd like to give the chance to everyone separately to add their closing remarks and some special comments or raise some questions to someone else in the panel. So we would have something before the Q&A from the chat. So please feel free to ask away or add some special comments. Maybe we can give the floor to either Federico or Tony, because Giannis was the last speaker in this special question.
Tony, go ahead, please.
Yeah, well, no, I think it's funny, as Giannis was speaking, I was thinking about all of the opportunities as well with AI, and I know it's kind of like, I don't want to go too far down that road, but I've heard the kind of the terminology of prompt engineer, and I think back to when internet was a thing. Yes, I'm that old. And I didn't have internet when I was in, university initially. And then we as students started using that tool to help us get answers. It kind of opened up this whole new world for us of research or whatever, or articles, but you still had to be mindful, right? You still do, of what's on the internet and things that are on there. And I think AI is kind of the same thing. It's just more sophisticated, and it's constantly learning with you. And I feel like that's a good way to look at it. And I'm dating myself, but that's okay. But I do feel like that's an important piece of it. And another thing too with the data cleansing, things like that, and AI is a lot of companies that are still on-prem are kind of way behind the game. So I do feel like if you are at a company right now that is still kind of an on-prem, that's probably, and you maybe you hear your bosses, your CEO talking about AI, It's like, okay, let's hold back a little bit and let's talk about cloud first, and then let's talk about AI, right? Like let's put things in order, sequence, and not jump the gun too much. But yeah, honestly, out there's so many, like Federico said, there's so many resources and things out there for Power BI. But again, just start to learn and be excited about it. I think that's the biggest thing too, is just be passionate about what you're learning about. And I feel too that everything else just falls into place if you're really excited about it. But that's it for me.
And maybe, Tony, you have some suggestions about where to get started in the AI journey. So maybe some sources that anyone from the audience could straight away go to and start learning.
Yeah, I mean, obviously my first go-to all the time is Microsoft and Microsoft Learn. That's kind of where I started on my own journey as a Power BI developer. But there's also other, Guy in a Cube is fantastic, I think, because they're also part of kind of that Microsoft Cat team. So that's fantastic. That they're also kind of close to the source. But there's so many people out there. I don't want to ignore them because they're fantastic and they're amazing, and I appreciate everything that they do. But yeah, that would be definitely one place to start off for sure. And I'm sure other people in the chat, please put in your also ideas. I'm sure you guys have some. That'd be fantastic. And maybe some that I don't know about. And I would also love to check them out. I'm always open to what other people like.
Thank you. So anyone that has something nice to share with the others, please feel free and drop in a link or anything or a name in the chat so we can all learn something following this webinar. But Federico, the floor is all yours, and for some closing comments.
I think it was because IE is not new. It started in 1967. I was born at that time. Okay, AI was born in 67. So it's nothing new. It has been progressing, and through the time, it has made quite a lot of mistakes, slow down, go away, and come back to the day we are. And we start developing that big baby. Now it's more powerful. That is a 3-year-old Tableau, a 57-year-old. Tool we allow to provide. But I don't want the people I like to represent the newcomers into Power BI, these guys that want to become a data analyst with artificial intelligence yet. Guys, focus on your development. Make sure you prepare a proper career path or a study path. I'm going to concentrate in Excel. I'm going to do Power BI and SQL, and tackle each of the two one by one. I told you before, many of them, and I lost more than half a year. I come to the conclusion. So that's what I would like for me to transmit today, for these guys coming into the data analysis and the Power BI world. It takes time. Don't compare yourself with the big boys out there in LinkedIn. LinkedIn is actually a sword of double, how do you say? A sort of double-edged sword, correct. Because you have people that are fantastic in DAX, and you look at them and you want to be there, but no, guys, we are not there. They have been in the job for 7, 8 years, 10 years. When you are 10 years in the job, you can compare to them. And I think regarding YouTube channels, you start with everything from the SQL BI guys to Guy in the Cube, all the known rehabbing, all the known YouTube channel, and then you are specializing in an area and start looking for a specific YouTube channel that actually are fit for what you want to do. But I think that also is a part of your progression. And at the beginning, I was to do quite a lot of tricks and tips in Power BI. And now, the less trick, the better, because what I want to present is for the end user, and the end user need to understand what I'm putting there. So it doesn't matter how beautiful it is, if the end user doesn't understand it, there is no point on my report. So I am moving away from the complexity of very good looking report for the simplicity, okay, or reporting something that the end user say, okay, and okay, without complication. As Leonardo da Vinci said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication.
Okay, thank you, Federico. Tony gave us a few specific examples that the people in the chat could go to. So maybe you have some favorites that you could suggest to everyone that you could go and check out straight away regarding the topics that you raised, which is data, a good experience, the Leonardo da Vinci quote. So is there anyone in particular that you would like to spotlight and highlight?
I think that's to you, Fed.
Oh, sorry, I missed it completely. Can you repeat? I was reading.
Sorry.
My fault. I know sometimes.
Yeah.
I am 57, Christoph. I'm 57. That happened to me sometimes.
Okay, Federico, the question was, so Tony gave us a few specific examples of like Guy on a Cube and some other popular creators on the internet that you can go and check out straight away. So do you have some favorites that you would suggest for the audience?
Yes, I like to watch Bas Hoffman, Data Training IO. It's a guy with a big beard. He's quite about visualization. He's fantastic doing trick, but he's also losing the plot because the trick are now 15 steps, and I'm losing the what I like about him. Kurbal do sometimes very good videos about DAX and other matter in a way that you can understand. And there is a couple of guys in Northern Ireland. No, one guy in Northern Ireland and another guy, I can't remember the name of the. Let me tell you in a second. I carry on talking. YouTube. Give me a second. I'm with you there.
Yeah. So Federico, to save some time, maybe let's give the floor to Yanis so he could have some closing remarks, and then we can, also add upon these, people lists that everyone should try and check out. So Yanis, all yours.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so thinking again about today's topic, right? So mastering Power BI, market trends and insights. I just wanted to one more time bring this in a spotlight that investments in BI globally are huge. They exceed $30 billion yearly. So think about the investments that your companies are making in this entire stack. And ironically, how that is typically consumed is through the reports. And by that, it just means that the critical link for the success, it's you, the report creators. And so it's actually in your hands if your company is getting most value from that investment or not. And to help your company get most out of it, think about what other speakers already told. It's the simplicity, it's ease of use. Try building reports that delight and exceed expectations of the users. But on the other hand, that don't require tremendous amounts of learning and education. And of course, the accessibility is super important. So nowadays, it's not enough that the report works only on a desktop. Make sure that it also works nicely on iPad, iPhone, because more and more people are on the go. They work collaboratively. So when building these reports, they must be easy to use, but they must be also accessible by these different means. And as for the future, remember that AI and ML is going to be there. It's already here. You can already use it to make your work easier. For instance, you can use ChatGPT to build like DAX formulas and also to ask it to explain things that you don't understand. So you can already incorporate that into today's processes. But with more advanced prompt engineering, you can get much more out of it. And in the future, think about specializing at something, as Federico suggested, and choose the domain that you really enjoy and like. But I believe that there's tons of opportunities for becoming better mediators between the business people and this ever increasingly complexity in this data and BI and tech stack. So yeah, that would be my final comments to you.
Okay, thank you, Yanis. seems that we're at the end of the line. So does anyone else have some questions, comments that they would like to add upon? Because we can see that there aren't too many questions in the chat that we could give specific answers to. Federico has given some links. We've also answered some of the questions during the conversation itself. So anyone that would like to add upon what has been discussed today?
I mean, I can see there's a few questions there in the chat about where to learn and how to learn. And this is the biggest one. You actually need to learn to learn. This is the skill. If you master, then every door is open to you. Back when we started, when I started, Google was a novelty, and those who mastered to use Google to learn things were those who get forward quicker. So if you continue to learn how to learn, this will certainly help you accelerate your skills in every possible domain. So go for it. There's tons of resources online, and I'll get better at that.
Okay, learning to learn, that's a great thing. My brother, who is a software developer, states this thing. So most of software development is just learning how to use Google correctly. So someone else has pretty much written the code already. So learn to learn is one of the main key pillars to success. So we have a question from Jayesh about Tableau over Power BI. So do you have any specific comments about this race about a powerful BI tool within large companies?
Yeah, I use both of them. Perhaps Power BI more than Tableau. And they have different characteristics. Tableau perhaps have better visualization, but with the improvement Power BI is bringing into Power BI, there is nothing to be afraid of. And I believe Tableau is more complex to work with. So in Power BI, in the canvas, you put all the charts, and there they are. You can see them. In Tableau, you have to do chart by chart in different pages, and then put it together in a dashboard. So it's a bit more difficult for people like me that like to visualize what is going on, to understand. And I think Power BI have already taken off and is leaving Tableau behind for a bit of a margin. And with the time, Power BI will carry on growing up, and Tableau will be behind. Definitely 100% Power BI.
Yes, I would have to agree with that. But another thing, if we think about it, honestly, it comes down to cost, and Tableau is still a lot pricier than Power BI. So if it's bottom line and numbers, and that's one thing that your company or client is considerate of, I would say 100% that the cost is just better on Power BI per user. So, but I agree. I did learn Power BI first, so I can be a little bit one-sided on that. But having learned Tableau second, I do prefer Power BI for that specific reason. The same thing that Federico said is just that whole having had to build out the pages. It reminded me a lot of another one that I worked with, which was OBIEE, which I did not love, where you kind of had to make each thing and then combine it at the end. That being said, I do feel that they had some things going for them, being able to just do running totals year to date, like just pull it into the thing and go. That was fantastic. So I think on some sides it is more complicated, and in some ways it's actually a little bit less complicated. But I also liked how Power BI buckets everything together. So you've got your ability to do Power Query, data modeling, and visualizations all in one, whereas Tableau's got it kind of segregated and split up a little bit. So that would be my other, obviously I have Power BI, but but I do feel there's a need. There's a place for it, and it can make beautiful reports. So again, find what your passion is, and mine was clearly Power BI. But if yours is Tableau, then take it and run with it. Obviously, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Tony. I think Yanis wants to add something. Yeah.
Yeah, just a quick comment on again this Power BI and Tableau topic. One thing to consider is what technology stack your company is using, because if you're in Microsoft domain, then Power BI is a no-brainer. It integrates perfectly with all the authentication. You can implement nice user controls, and you can do integrations in Teams and everywhere. So it's kind of like perfect fit. I mean, and it's the cheapest product possible for the BI, and the value that you get from it is tremendous. And but again, both products are good, but they have different applications. But nowadays, again, Power BI has not democratized the BI market by offering it for very low price, which is, I think, a very great thing that they have done, because we are in the century where we all need to be more data driven and make decisions that are more data driven. And so because of the Power BI, I think the BI as such has taken on a very new kind of shape and velocity. And I think we are all benefiting from that.
Okay, thank you, Yanis. So, where we go from now, guys? So, I wanted to give the floor to anyone that wanted to, make some sort of last type of comment. We will also be sending out this webinar to everyone in attendance tomorrow. So I saw that this is something that was raised during the call in the chat. So I'm just trying to skim over.
There is a question, Christoph, by Samula Exxon.
Yeah. Yes.
Interesting.
So there are data analytics course that we want to learn how to use Power BI and Excel to quantify businesses. So anyone have an answer to that?
Okay, I don't know how much do you know about linear regression or business metrics, but before we need to learn the tool and then the metrics. Okay, that is very important. So don't rush. Linear regression. If you're going to be a data scientist, it will be very useful for you. If you're going to be intelligent, it's not going to be of any use at all, or very little. So that's what I meant before by choose your path. See what you want to become. See what niche are you gonna or you prefer to work with, and some of these doubt will actually disappear. Business metric for what department? Human resources, marketing, logistics, inventory, accounting, finance. There are tons of metrics, and they are different depending on the department you are working on. So there is not one metric, there is ton of metrics, and we need to learn about metrics in a different way. So my suggestion is to learn the tool. With this can your brain expand, and you look at the data and you can see possibilities of what to do, and you keep exploring, and this metric will come back to you. But most important, when you go to work, they are going to tell you what metric they want to see, because they are the company that are paying your salary. So you're not going to have to come out with a fancy metric. They will tell you, we want this and we do it this way. And that's the task for you to do it, because some friend sitting down in the next desk, you can ask, sorry, how do you do that? And they will tell you. So everything will be pan up for you. Don't be afraid. Don't try to take too much in, because you will get confused, overwhelmed, having a burnout. I actually had to say it for 15 days myself. I'm not touching the computer at all, because I just go too much. So slow down, step by step, and see your progression. Measure your goals. See how you're doing.
Okay. Thank you, Federico. So I see also there's a question by Jayesh. So about, is it good to use external imported visuals in Power BI? Do they have any drawbacks? I think, Giannis, this one might be something that you would be able to add.
Yeah, I mean, I believe all of us can, but that is like, again, so what is an external visual? So we're talking about custom visuals, and as you know, there's like two types of custom visuals in the marketplace: certified and non-certified visuals. So the certified visuals that have passed Microsoft security certification process, those are safe to include in your report. You can be sure that they're not leaking data, completely safe to use. So you can go to the app source, download, import, and it's all fine. No risks with that. Once you start to import visuals that are non-certified, you must be aware of potential security risks. These non-certified visuals can connect to external resources on the web. Basically, they can push all the information data that they receive to third-party services, and so you have to be really careful in a sense what you download and where you get them from and how you use them. So I would certainly recommend using security certified ones, and maybe in some occasions also non-certified, but be very careful when making those choices.
So about Microsoft certification for the visuals, so what does that mean?
Oh, it's a complex process where when the vendor creates a third-party vendor creates a custom visual for the Power BI, we go through a very rigorous testing from the Microsoft side. What they do is they require source code of the visual, so they go line by line with some automated testing and manual testing to make sure that you're not using techniques that could inject HTML or JavaScript in the runtime in the browser to again leak some data. So they make sure that there's no external connection requests like asynchronous web requests and so on. So it's a very detailed, thorough process that they do. They require the source code, and once it goes through all these checks and validations, they then put this visual on their CDN. So developer cannot, well, we as a vendor, we cannot change it anymore. It's there. And therefore, whenever it's used in your report, it comes from the secure enclave of Microsoft Cloud. And so it's only the certified version there that can get inside your report. So you're completely secure.
Okay. So thank you, Yanis, for that explanation. So I'm scrolling through the chat. I see there are some other questions that we didn't cover. So one thing that was mentioned, how easy is it to get real-time measures to be used within the reports, and where do you even start looking for the answers to these questions? So I know that we used a statement about using Google and learning to learn, but maybe someone can add some other comments for this specific question about real-time measures.
There is a number, there is another myth that you need to learn every single that measure, that function in Power BI, and that is totally wrong. Travel light, that is not my sentence, from a colleague. And that means that you learn 15 of the most used that function for your environment. You make sure, okay, you understand them very well. And then you add another one every 1 month or 2 months. That 15 function will help you to do time intelligence, calculate function, filter function, table function, and you just need to learn these 15, guys. You don't need to learn the 230, I don't know, so many functions there is in Power BI or that. And you have a category called time intelligence. Okay, you got area, you got letter, you got now, you got plenty of them. The most I use is, I think it's data. Yes, data. Yes,
yeah.
That's the one I mostly use. You have same period last year, same period last quarter ago. You got a bunch of time intelligent functions. You don't want to learn all of them. You want to learn a few of them. And as I told you, that's the one you use. The more you use it, the more flexible and knowledgeable you become with them, and the more you can exploit these measures.
I will say that it can be difficult to learn if it's like your first language in coding, which it was mine. So be patient with yourself, and it does start to click. I thought for sure, and again, back to this whole second language thing, and I do feel like math, coding, music, they're all second languages. They really, really are. It does take time. So don't get frustrated with yourself. Just be patient. And like Fed said, you will see the same ones over and over again. So it just becomes kind of rote memory. It used to exist as a thing that we needed, but it will become naturally. And there are a lot of things out there to help you as well. And whether or not you use ChatGPT, but there's also like SQL BI. There's other things, even like the IntelliSense in it can help you a little bit. It's getting a little bit better at saying, this is a red bracket, get rid of it. So that's super helpful. So just pay attention to those things. But yeah, just be kind to yourself. It'll come. With learning and patience, you'll get there.
Okay. And touching upon the topic of learning, so if you were to suggest some complete newcomer to the world of Power BI, where should they get started to learn the basics and how to create their first report? So I know that everyone is creating their own platform and growing their audience, but maybe you could have like a short pitch about why they should check out something that Federico offers, Yanis has. Possibly Tony also can add some additional comments about what she would be able to consult people on.
If you are new to the business, be new for a long time, because people will normally give you preference over those who knows a lot. So when somebody sent me a message in LinkedIn, I knew I probably respond quicker than if Tony write to me. Probably I kept Tony waiting for a little bit because she's an adult and she knows what she does. So please don't be afraid of being a newbie. It's quite interesting being a newbie because you can use it and abuse it a bit more. When I learned Power BI was with a platform called Maven Analytics. I was lucky enough to be in the Hall of Fame book in 2020, and I recommend that platform to learn Excel, Power BI, Tableau. They got Python, they got a lot of stuff. That is where I will go. If you have the money to actually pay that year subscription. But my second secret, and all my prizes in my challenge come from Udemy. Udemy is an excellent platform. And for $10, you get a course. And you get a Maven Analytics course in there. And you got top instructors, okay, teaching in Udemy. You don't need to spend a fortune, okay, with $10. Most probably they do the region pricing, so if you are in India, it will be cheaper for you. Okay, but Maven Analytics and Udemy, and as I told you, all the courses in Maven Analytics are in Udemy. Jumping in is my favorite.
Okay, thank you, Federico. Tony?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started, I did a lot of things for free because that's just the way I started. So I definitely used Microsoft Learn predominantly, just kind of on my own with Power BI. And like I said before, I did start to use kind of resources with Guy on the Cube and SQL BI and those people to really help kind of augment my journey. When I was ready to take the data analysis certification, I did use Udemy to help prep me, and that was a fantastic course. Another one on the market is Pragmatic Works. They are fantastic. So I did Dashboard in a Days. If you can find one that's free, I did 2 because the first one was over my head. And then when I did the second one, I was more confident in asking questions and things like that. So really engage in the community, find webinars like this, Dashboards in a Day. If you're really new and getting started, are fantastic tools out there, and businesses and companies are putting them out there because they want to teach you and also maybe sell you some things, but they mostly want to teach you and get their name out there. So they're fantastic. So definitely use those resources if you can.
Thank you, Tony. And Yanis?
Yeah, for my side, I totally agree to Tony and Federico. So Udemy is an absolutely great place to go ahead and have some great courses there. We use it also internally. But if we kind of generalize that, and again, I'm reflecting from my own experience, I think especially if you are kind of new to this, it's great to start by looking from different use cases, because when you're taken through a development of a certain use case, it kind of gives you already this kind of idea of what it takes to go from A to Z without getting into details of every individual step. There's so many details, as Federico mentioned. You don't need to know all of them, but it's good to have at least go through a few reports and see how that process happens, so that you have this overall understanding and so that you're not that afraid. And there's tons of resources, and by the way, there's also some on our website. I'll just post a link to that so that you can access it, and it's a free resource. So feel free to use it. And it's exactly that. It takes through a couple of free reports, how to build them, and in a very light and easy way. And by going through these steps, you'll be able to replicate reports like that in no time at all. But again, get to know the overall structure and then refine what you need to. I think that's kind of the best way forward.
Okay, thank you, Yanis. So looking at the clock, we're exactly at whatever time zone we're in, but at an around the clock. So if there are any closing statements that anyone wants to add upon, please feel free to do so, as this is pretty much the time that people have booked this in their calendar, so they might start dropping off. So if there are any last Q&A questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. So let's just give everyone a chance to say some last remarks or add a comment to the chat before we end up this session. And one more thing, I will be adding, I have already added a link to the chat where you're able to share feedback about the webinar, so we can further improve the content that is, best suited for the people in the audience. So you get most insights, you learn the most, and you're able to use the information in the seminar for your own benefit. So please feel free to add your comments and your feedback in the form that I've just pasted once more in the chat.
Yep. Thanks everyone for being with us. And again, as I told you, it's up to you to decide what you're building. But remember that you have a super big impact on the vault itself. So exciting times to be a report creator.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
So thank you so much for this. Should create something similar in the near future with some different topics raised. I think we had a very nice discussion with very insightful thoughts from everyone in attendance. So I'd like to thank you once again. Thank you for everyone that joined this call. We'll be sending out the recording to this webinar tomorrow. So feel free to come back to us with any questions that you might have, and we'll try to pass them along to anyone in the audience that is best suited to answer them. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye,
Everyone.
Tony. Bye,
Bye-bye.
Federico.
Yeah,
Bye.
see you.